The tunnel whispers. Ouxbend, Kentucky. He appeared just before the sound of the train. But that train doesn't exist. What was heard in the hills outside Ouxbend, Kentucky? A myth, a malfunction, or something far more terrifying? Tonight, we investigate the tunnel the locals call Whispergate, and the boy who walks it with a lantern that should have gone out 70 years ago. The story begins in the fall of 1954. A small town, a foggy morning. A boy named Jacob Wyatt never makes it to school. His disappearance doesn't make national news, but it never leaves the minds of the people here. Jacob was 9, quiet, loved trains. His grandfather had worked on the railway back when steam engines still echoed across the valleys. That year, for his birthday, he gave Jacob a small oil lantern, old-fashioned, heavy glass. They say Jacob carried it everywhere. On October 11th, he left home as usual. It was still dark. He had early chores on a neighbor's farm before school. He took the shortcut, the one that passed the old tracks, the tunnel, and the river bend. He never came back. Search teams combed the woods for days. They found footprints. Then, nothing. No signs of struggle, no scent for the dogs to follow, just silence. Until the third day. Just before dusk, a local farmer spotted something strange at the mouth of the tunnel. Jacob's lantern, glowing faintly in the dirt. The glass was warm, the wick freshly burned. But there was no boy. The tunnel itself was unusual. Short, maybe 100 feet, carved straight into limestone, no signage, no dates. It doesn't appear on official rail maps. There are no records of trains ever running through it, and yet locals swear they've heard whistles there since before the war. Some say the tunnel was built and sealed in the same decade. Others say it was never meant for people at all. Over the years, the story faded. Jacob became a cautionary tale, a name whispered to scare kids from wandering too far. But every so often, someone would claim they heard it again. The sound. A low, distant train whistle, echoing from the tunnel. One man, Harold Reams, joined the search back in '54. He was a volunteer firefighter. After that week, he left town and never spoke of it again. Decades later, his daughter found a single sentence written on the last page of his journal. The boy is still there, but he's not waiting to be found. There are others. In 1993, a retired nurse named Catherine Miles gave an interview about her time working in the area. She said she once took a shortcut home past the tunnel. It was dusk. The trees were silent, and then she heard it. The whistle. Slow, hollow, followed by footsteps. There was a boy standing in the tunnel entrance, holding a lantern. She said he looked almost like a photograph, perfectly still, but his eyes, she couldn't see any. In 2003, a group of teenagers entered the tunnel at night with a camcorder. What happened in those 5 minutes has been debated for 2 decades. You've likely seen the footage. Blurry, flashlight beams, nervous laughter, then silence. A sudden, metallic groan, and a flicker. A boy with a lantern. Just for a moment, the last few seconds of the tape are distorted. Static, something that sounds like a whistle, stretched and drawn. Then a voice, barely audible, repeating something none of them remembered saying. In 2021, a sound analyst named Dr. Raj Patel examined the audio. His conclusion: it's not a train, it's trying to sound like one. In his lab, he isolated frequencies that don't occur in mechanical signals. The so-called whistle was missing harmonics. It was synthetic, constructed, almost imitated, like a mimic or an echo without a source. And then there's the Wyatt family. Most of them moved away. The few who stayed never speak about Jacob. But in 2019, Jacob's great niece, Tessa, agreed to talk. She told us her daughter, 6 years old, once drew a picture of a boy with a lantern standing in a tunnel. She had never seen Jacob's photo, but the resemblance was unsettling. The family keeps the lantern now, or what's left of it. The glass is cracked, the base scorched, but under certain light, the metal still holds heat. We visited Ouxbend in the fall of 2022. We found the tunnel, mostly hidden behind brush and rock. Cold air seeps from it even in high summer. The surrounding area is dry, but inside, dampness clings to the walls. No graffiti, no animals, not even bugs. The deeper we went, the stronger the pressure. Not a sound, not a presence, just a growing heaviness. And then, without warning, a hum. Low, vibrating, mechanical. We stopped, raised the camera, and then we saw him, just at the curve of the tunnel. A child, lantern in hand, back turned, standing still, not moving, not breathing. The light from the lantern flickered. We stepped closer, and then gone. Just air. We left. One of our crew couldn't sleep for days. Another claimed he could hear the whistle and his phone static. We reviewed the footage, and it was all there. The glow, the boy, and something else. A voice in the noise. At normal speed, it's garbled. But slowed down, we hear 2 words. Turn around. Some people say this is pareidolia, the human tendency to find patterns where none exist. Others believe it's a warning. In January of this year, a family hiking nearby lost track of their son. For nearly an hour they searched, called for help. The boy reappeared by the roadside, come unhurt. When asked where he'd been, he said, "The boy with the lantern showed me the train." And then he refused to say anything more. There is no record of Jacob Wyatt in federal archives. His birth certificate cannot be located. The school he was meant to attend that day burned down in 1978. No survivors, no files recovered. But the photo exists, taken the summer before he vanished. Jacob, holding his lantern, his smile quiet. Behind him, just out of focus, a dark stone opening, almost like a mouth. Some say the tunnel wasn't built for trains. Some say it was never built at all. It just opened like a wound. And sometimes, wounds don't heal. Every year, in October, someone in Ouxbend reports the sound of a train that isn't there. The whistle echoes, the ground hums, and always someone sees the light. We don't know what the tunnel is. We don't know who the boy is. But the footage is real, the audio is untouched, and the lantern still burns. What do you hear when the tunnel calls?